Well, happy day. Happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. I'm just singing because I forgot what my intro line is, but would you have known, Jenny? I was going to say welcome. It's morning, but it's afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Money and Mindset at 40 Plus. And that song is a great way to start an episode that's all about gratitude. Gratitude. So welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sylvia.
I'm Jenny.
And we invite you to come and play big every week with us as you conquer your money stories, money fears that are holding you back from abundance.
And I am grateful for all of you people out there that show up and listen, whether it's live or whether it's afterwards on YouTube. It means so much to both Sylvia and I. And thanks for being part of our world.
Thank you. Today, what a show. And Jenny asked me, Sylvia, did you do your gratitude practice today? And I said, I did that.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and I can feel it in my body. So thank you. It's not just about thank yous. We're going to really get into a different, it's not just about saying the words.
So let's talk about where this episode came from. So I came on Monday. We prep on Mondays to tell Sylvia that I hate November. I was like, oh, it's November. I hate November. And she said,
I said, that's just a story, Jenny. It's just a story. Right?
And I took a minute and I was like, and then I was like, well, if that was just a story, how would I shift to gratitude for the month of November?
Yeah.
And Sylvia, I'm interrupting, but I think I've actually been thinking about that since Monday. And I want you to know that I have noticed the leaves. I have noticed my stove, right? My stove in my back room, we put the pilot on. That's like the dog's very excited. I have noticed, I've been thinking about stews I'm going to build and cook this weekend on my big crock pot. So thank you for helping me shift that mindset that it's just a story.
It is just a story, but we get caught up in our stories, right? Because everything is a story, and we'll talk about that in other episodes, but everything is a story. But what, our thoughts become feelings. So when you said, I hate November, and you were like, oh, I hate this. You know me, Jenny, Sylvia, I hate November. And then right away I was like, well, let's look at what are the great things about November. And what do they say? Is it in, it's Danish?
The hygge.
The hygge, right? And I think that's based on gratitude of everything that's around us, and that's quite profound. So I'm really happy that you have looked at the trees and the crock pots and it's a great practice.
And that idea, what happened for me and what gratitude can do for all of us is that slight shift in mindset, because we know that thoughts are self-perpetuating. So the thoughts either spiral. I hate November. Oh my God, I have to wear my boots. I hate my boots. I should have got new boots last year. How come the kids are late to get outside to just sort of starts to continue, and you find proof of your thoughts in the daily life.
Exactly. You'll just see those rather than all the good things. Yeah. And what we were talking about, if you haven't hopped on Brene Brown's newish podcast, she has a great podcast. She's amazing. If you've never read her books, read her books. She's got a great podcast, and it's wonderful listening to her voice. And she's funny. And she was talking to these two sisters, one a musician. So Jenny and I we felt very attracted to this episode of Brene's. And they have a book called Burnout, about women and how women in North America are feeling burnout and how it's working and not working, and giving tips and tools. And one of them was, okay, well, thoughts are feelings, but where the burnout comes from and the negativity is that the feelings, we're not addressing them. We're pushing them down. And that's what burnout is, pushing down those feelings. So it's okay to say, I'm feeling this XYZ, but there needs to be an end to that feeling.
And to give you guys that are visual an analogy, which I loved, she talked about, the ladies talked about a tunnel and how we often get stuck in the middle of an emotional tunnel. So when we get stuck, that's when the burnout happens. We actually have to release the emotion, and wait for it, Sylvia, the release is actually in your body. It's not in your head.
Ooh.
It's in
But
your
so
head.
much of it, are stuck here, and we are, right? We are, many of us are overthinkers, and then we get caught up in then all of these stories, and then we're starting to believe these stories, whether it be, it's really about our podcast, about imposter syndrome, about self-worth, about I'm not good enough. All of these are just stories, but we're actually feeling them, but we're not dealing with them, right? There needs to be an end to this, and working through them. It was really good. Anyway, that was my suggestion for this morning.
Absolutely. And just letting your body finish that emotional journey. And how often are we shoving it back in and going on our daily way, or getting to the grocery store or to the soccer pickup? So that really actually stuck for me a lot. Gratitude is a feeling. It's not just saying it, it's actually feeling it deep in your body. And when gratitude happens, I know, and I can't tell you what they are, but I'm reading a book called Successful Aging that talks about these chemicals that get released. And I'm sure we had a joke about this, not oxytocin.
No, yes for oxytocin, but not OxyContin, which is a drug.
Yeah, not the
oxytocin, the love hormone, right? Yes.
It gets released.
The gratitude secretes the oxytocin, which is one of the 4 hormones for happiness. It's dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, and oxytocin. Which in the birth world, if you follow me in the birth world, that we just need that love hormone, and that creates lots of happiness. So my question for you, I know you had a big breath there, but do you have a gratitude practice, Jenny?
No, I don't. What I do have, what I do have is, I do have a meditation practice. It's inconsistent. I'm going to own that. But I do have a practice where I slow down before I start work. And that is only recent, actually. And the reason I slow down and sit quietly before work is that I often find that all the noise goes away, which creates emotion and stress in my body. And it helps me think about what's actually just most important in front of me. And you know what? The first couple times I did I remember doing gratitude at Thanksgiving one time, inviting our family to say one thing they were grateful for. And I'm going to be honest, I was in tears. I totally lost it. And I was like, what is going on? And I think it was this big release of like, matter of fact, one of the times I can remember being most moved, Sylvia, and this is bar none, was a story actually from when I was 21 years old, and I was teaching a girls' choir out in the West End of Montreal when I was at McGill, and they invited me to a party, which I thought was an end-of-year choir party, and they stood on stage and they celebrated me. They sang for me, and I bawled through the entire performance. I hardly heard it. It's tearing me up talking about it now. And I was so incredibly touched that they spent the time to tell me they were grateful for me.
Oh, yes. That's so profound. That's probably your favorite concert of ever, right?
They're so cute. And it was so the thing is, this was imperfect. It was beautiful. It was genuine. And I just couldn't believe they spent that time for me, Sylvia.
Yeah. There are lots of things going around gratitude. I mean, you see it in the memes all the time. Be grateful, be grateful, be grateful. And I was getting sick of it. So when you brought up this topic, let's talk about this. Yeah. And it was supposed to be around Thanksgiving. We were doing this, and then we switched it up. But I do have a gratitude practice that I've been doing. It's probably for a good year, and it's almost every day, where before waking up, I'm half awake, before opening my eyes, I will say 3 things that I am grateful for. And I do try and change them up and be, original, but really, really, what am I feeling? Because it's very easy to say, well, I'm grateful for my kids, my husband, and my work. Boom, just did it. But that was I did not connect to myself there. Yeah. So when I'm actually before, if it is during my day, I will close my eyes, but in the morning, it's great. I'm in bed still. What am I feeling grateful for? when I actually do this properly, I know I'm doing, and there's no proper, there's no good or bad. But for me, when I know I am connected and truly grateful, I get a warm feeling. So it's coming back to feeling. And that's really what this show is all about, is where are you connecting to yourself and getting that feeling that, and it oozes right to my toes and the whole, everywhere. So it's that connection to myself and that to really feel. And so, I think, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, anybody on our call that's listening, can you post in the chat if you have a gratitude practice? I'm really curious for those. And I want to acknowledge that it's Stacy's birthday month. Yes. Way to go, Stacy. So that's awesome. That's a great reason to celebrate. But if you have a gratitude practice, please, let us know what small thing you do.
And it's okay if you don't. It's okay. Like Jenny said, she doesn't have one, but she has a meditation one. Which is it's connected. They are all connected. And I think that's important. I started not just at Thanksgiving, but with the kids, Jenny, they're very used to my, weekly, okay, this week we're going to go around the table and tell us what you're grateful for. I even had them start journals with them. For them, it was all around food. It was all, especially my youngest, it was like, I'm really grateful for those chocolate chip cookies, and then she would say my friends and for you, mommy. And I'm like, that's great. But just to get them into the habit of what are we grateful for today. And I told you last week that I am very grateful for the smaller things. And you're like, well, what does that mean? And I'm like, well, water. Every time that I use water, I have this image in my mind of someone who doesn't have access to water or hot water, particularly when I'm washing the dishes. And I'm thinking, imagine if I didn't have my sink and running water and I'd have to walk a mile. I feel that very grateful. And that just brings me down, like not down into it, not down as in, you know what I mean, mentally, but in a, it brings me it realistically to like, oh my gosh, I'm a lucky woman, water. But we don't say thankful to those smaller things.
It's funny you say that, because this week, of course, we're talking about gratitude, right? So I'm putting out the garbage with the recyclables, and in the what do you call those things? The cans. Something gets caught on my leggings, and the whole thing falls over, and all the cans go around. Oh, no. And I thought of you, Sylvia. I was like, okay, I'm grateful that my house has a recycling box that I can put things back into. And you know what's wild? It took away all the normal fillers. The fillers. I was like, okay, now I'm just living in the present, because that's another thing gratitude does, and putting these things back in the box I'm so grateful for garbage men. Can we just talk about that for a minute? That I don't have to do it myself, right? So I think I think maybe another key point is this in the moment aspect of it. Very present.
Well, look at Colleen here, Jenny. I'm so grateful for Jenny's mastermind class. Wonderful friendships have resulted from our time together, learning about nonprofits and ourselves. Wonderful.
Feels the same.
Very wonderful. Yeah. We have Laura here who says, I spend the first 45 minutes of my day on my back deck in my fuzzy housecoat with my coffee and my dog, and I take that time to reorient to gratitude. That is amazing. I can picture you, Laura.
I can.
And to take that time to connect with self. I think that's super important. And to set intentions, right? I mean, it's all connected, all connected.
I want to pick up on something else, this idea of the present, which, by the way, is owning. That's really hard for me. I'm a goal setter. The thing I love about gratitude is it's not tied to when I do X, I will appreciate gratitude. Or like I work in fundraising, right? Campaigns. When we secure our final dollar for our campaign, then we'll be grateful. No, we're actually going to be grateful during the journey, on the journey, experiencing the journey. And that is a big shift to staying present and in the moment in a very dynamic world. I want to pick up on, for my fundraisers in the group, or those of you that work towards targets or goals, or even just do things that are uncomfortable. I know in Sylvia's world, we're always, as business owners, we're always putting ourselves out there. There's some research that I have quoted on LinkedIn about the Wharton School of Business that did research on 50 and appreciated by their boss versus 50 fundraisers who were the status quo, the control group. And upon having that thank you and that gratitude moment with their boss for the work they do, that group of fundraisers went out and made more calls, more annual appeal calls. It seems like a no-brainer, but it's a really good reminder for us that are leading to find places to add gratitude into our everyday life. It doesn't have to be special.
And that's not just fundraisers, right? That's in our business, as how we show up, the people we work with. I think we forget a lot that can go really, really far. One thing I noticed in my own life, these I would say maybe the past months or whatnot, was not being grateful for part of my business. And I really, the messaging was, I was telling my business was, it's bullshit. You know, it's, I hate that part. I hate that. And you know what happened? I stopped selling whatever that product was. Sales stopped. And it took one of my, a coach I listened to, and she was talking about the gratitude as well. And then how she was saying the same thing happened to her business. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I'm doing. The negative messages. Well, of course, that part of my business is like, well, hey, Sylvia, if you are not grateful for me, this is what's going to happen. And that whole strain of revenue just erased itself. And you know what? It's okay to be in between. It might not be exactly what I want to be doing right now, but to show gratitude for that part of my business, or even that whole business that has allowed me to delve into entrepreneurship, that has allowed me to buy things for my children, for myself, to invest in coaching, to do a new website, all of that. And I was like, that was a really a wake-up call for me.
Sure.
This past week, when I realized this, I was like, no, we do need to be grateful for things, and sometimes we're not. And
So I so appreciate you sort of being honest and raw. And we always said we'd start this with a coaching kind of a mindset of co-coaching each other. And that's something I really value. And co-coaching and working with all of you out that are listening to this call, or things that you're struggling with. I had a difficult moment with my younger one this morning. And I had the same moment of, it's so easy to fill in the blanks with all the negative stuff, right? And to beat yourself up or get angry about. And something I really worked on this morning with my younger one was just sitting in the present with the situation as it is, not telling a story, right? I wasn't able to go to gratitude. I'm going to be honest, Sylvia, I couldn't get that far, but I didn't go into the negative spiral. I just sat with it, and I tried very hard to be present. And, if anybody who has a teenager in the group, there's nothing more difficult as a mom to hear than, you're not listening to me. And, in the past I would have, well, what do you mean? Blah, 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 right? I'm very familiar with that line. And it was interesting for me to say, just sit with it, right? Just sit with it. And I've sort of committed in my head that when she comes back tonight, what does gratitude for that conversation look like? That's where I'm trying to get to, Sylvia. Not that I'm going to solve it. It's not a solvable thing. We love to solve things as parents, but just being grateful for the opportunity. And, I've been using that again with my younger one, where when she comes down to engage me, instead of being irritated that I'm in the middle of something really important, because it's also important, I just have that moment of, okay, I'm grateful she wants to chat. Focus, Jenny. Just focus. Focus, right? And half the time I'm like, I don't say the wrong thing, right? That's the ticker tape, is don't say the wrong thing. But, just being grateful for that moment. And so I've really been embracing this. And I think it's a big step, your path to happiness, this idea that you choose your path to happiness. You choose your work path to happiness. If I want to pick up on this idea for our fundraisers, if you're out there in the community thinking, this is like a dumb idea, I think this is the stupidest fundraising strategy ever, good luck raising a dime.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, no, and that works for anything, right? I mean, if you're not on board with a project, if you launch a program and you're not really in love with it, if you partner up with someone that you don't like just because they might bring you, I don't know, X, Y, and Z followers on Instagram or whatever it is, it's not going to go well. Right?
Are we talking about authenticity here too? Are we talking about doing things that are true to us? That might be part of it too,
I think so. Well, again, gratitude, connecting to self. Who am I? What do I want?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Big stuff.
Good stuff, Jenny. Good stuff.
Good
Well,
stuff.
thank you all. If you have, I lost my train of thought here, but
Well,
that's okay.
I love
It's
how I have to
live.
put my glasses on now to be able to read the comments. I'm grateful that my eyes still work. And
Yes,
you know what? I just
well,
want to behind the scenes for those of you on this call as we close out our gratitude thing. You know, I've been waffling between wearing the glasses, not wearing the glasses. I can't see anything without the glasses, so it's been fun to for us to explore some of this behind the scenes tech stuff. Am I allowed to tell them about my new microphone too, Sylvia?
you are, of
I
course.
am. I am grateful. Let's see if I can lift it up for my Blue Yeti new microphone. This feels
Doesn't she
very.
sound wonderful?
Yeah, and this is official. Like this makes it feel official, this show. And hey, we're on show number 20 next week. What's going on there?
Next week is show number 20, and we're bringing it back to mindset.
Yeah.
Right? Money.
Yeah.
No, we're not. Well, we are.
Yes, we are.
Playing big. We're going to be talking about what does that mean for you, because it means something different for everybody, but playing big. Colleen, my glass is always at least half full, and I know I have the pitcher to fill up the glass.
Oh,
I
nice,
love that
Colleen.
analogy.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
I love it too because there's an element of choice to it, right? We all get to choose filling up that glass, or choose to re-engage with that conversation, or choose to talk to our kids about gratitude and those kind of practices that we have. So what a fantastic way to close out this show.
Yeah.
Different energy on the show. I just want to acknowledge that. And I really always appreciate this time with you, Sylvia, and this time with all those people out there that are listening along, looking for something, seeking something. Maybe it's within that idea of gratitude.
It is always within. Yes. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Please share with friends. I think let's spread the joy, and have a wonderful week. Thanks for being here.
Happy November.
Bye. Happy November. Bye.